Hello, hello. We are live in day 4 already. Can you imagine that? I started like on Monday and we're already on day 4 of our 30 days, 30 lives, the VShow live, an initiative that just came up these days because of the COVID. And I thought, why not to have a live together every day? And today we're going to discuss about drafting a translator CV do's and don'ts. So let me know in the comments where you're watching me from. If you have any questions, I have received your emails with your questions. So let me know where you're watching me from. We are already day 4. Drafting a translator's CV, do's and don'ts, and I'm going to share my slides. I've got so many questions, and the Q&A session is going to be held on Instagram later. So all those trainings are based on the feedback I get from you and your questions. So most of the questions are about what to include, and what not to do when you contact agencies. So definitely today we're going to talk about the CV and tomorrow about cover letter, because I know that you've been asking me for. So let me know in the comments where are you watching me from, and if you have any specific question about your CV. When I started doing mentoring and coaching other translators, I used to get so often the question, I have sent 200 CVs, I have sent 250 CVs, but I've got no answer. So imagine having contacted 200 agencies and not getting any reply back. We imagine all of us that something we're not doing, something we are doing definitely wrong. So let me know if you have encountered so far such situation about sending CVs and do not get any replies from. I had that when I started out, but now I can tell you I made a research and I have gathered here the best tips and tricks that you need to follow in order to avoid when you contact. And of course, I'm going to reply the most frequently asked questions and the questions I got via email. So if you have any questions for me, send them at info@vmentoring.com. If you want to be notified about next lives, vmentoring.com/30-day lives, so as to register there and be notified. And if you would like the slides, please subscribe to the newsletter again. And you will find the free resources when it's uploaded there, because I have many free resources on my new website. So let's start with our today's topic, which is drafting a translator CV, do's and don'ts. And I'm going to share here my slides, 44 slides, but the training is going to be short. Those slides that I'm going to share with you are from a training, a 3 hours workshop. Can you imagine? 3 hours workshop. So this is something that we are not going to do today. Don't be scared, because those lives are short and to the point trainings, webinars, we can say, to answer your questions and to have a very generic idea of what to avoid or not. So I'm going through the slides to show you what is included in the training, but I'm going to focus to those slides that they're actually really interesting, and it's about the do's and don'ts when we draft a translator CV. Of course, I have about interpreters as well, examples, but most of the times, because I get questions about translators, this is why I'm focused on translators. So let me share my screen. Okay. And I need to do my full screen. I'm sorry for that. So let me know in the comments if you see my slides. These are from a training that I have made many years ago, but I have updated some recently. So let me know if you see the slides in the comments. And this is a guidebook, which I'm going to share with you the link later via email in order to receive the slides if you're interested. If you're interested in receiving the slides, please comment below this video yes. Do you see the slides? Let me know in the comments. Yes, okay, definitely. Great. So let's start. This training initially includes the first and second part. The first part is the more theoretical, the second part is the more practical one. So the first part has the general guidelines, preparation planning phase, CV content by section, CV format and layout, final check before sending it, and the common pitfalls to avoid. The second part is the part of the workshop where we're actually taking on participants' CVs, giving them real-time feedback, and of course includes checklists, templates, key points, useful resources, and frequently asked questions. Of course, today we're going to focus like the short training, 30 minutes, 40 minutes maximum. So I will focus all the training to more the most interesting information about you. And before you start to write a CV or update your CV, you have to have in mind those basic principles. So what a CV, regardless of your field or profession, should be short. The ideal length, because I'm so often asked, is 1 to 2 pages, and we're going to discuss why 1 or 2 pages. So in Europe, it is accepted to be 2 pages. When you focus on the US market, the CV traditionally has to be 1 page. It has to be easy to read. Both content and structure should be simple. Structured, all information is organized and in a correct order. Concise, that it means it includes everything that may be relevant to the reader. This is very, very important. And this is the most common answer you will get from me to the most questions that I get. Like, should I include this information? Should I include this CPD that I did? Should I include this webinar that I'm attending? And my answer is, do you think that this is relevant to the reader? Do you think that this information that you're thinking or not to include in your CV would make the reader or the evaluator of your CV to actually hire you or assign you that project? So this is very important to know. A CV should be clear. The recipient of our CV should immediately understand what we want to say. Neat and professional use of bullet points and the tab function to separate out spaces. Accurate, the information contained should be accurate and true. That's very, very important. Unique, that's another key point here. It should be adapted for the specific project or position. So what we should avoid, and you can go back and watch my last yesterday's Q&A session, we should avoid when we contact agencies, we should avoid of a generic CV, sending a generic CV. So it should be unique and should be adapted for the specific project or position we're applying for. Unknown abbreviation should be avoided. And why? Because the evaluator won't spend more than 50 seconds. I think it was, now it's much less. So imagine if they're going to spend 50 seconds on your CV, imagine not be able to understand what you mean by the abbreviation, spending their time on Google, for example, to find what you mean by those abbreviations. So we really want them to make clear decision and to have clear information in front of them in that short evaluation time. Of course, we avoid any grammar and spelling mistake, especially in our profession. And I've seen those mistakes also on online CVs like LinkedIn and so on. So please avoid grammar mistakes or typos. Do's and don'ts, general guidelines, basic principles here. So do's, what a CV should be: short, comprehensive, easily legible, organized, clear, accurate, true, unique. And of course, it should include dates and numbers because it makes it more trustworthy. Don'ts, what we avoid: it shouldn't include abbreviation, acronyms, calligraphy, strange fonts, strange formatting, spelling mistakes, syntactical errors, repetitions, too detailed. The CV shouldn't be too detailed, and shouldn't be without logical order. So it should have logical order. What is the process that we should follow when we write a CV? We should follow the before, the during, and the after phase, which is the before planning phase and collecting information. This is very, very important, and this is what is the secret in order our CV to be read and evaluated, and also to get an answer to our email. The during phase, which is the actual CV writing and CV formatting, and the after phase, which is the final text, sending the email. While planning, what information to include in your CV, it would be advisable to take into account the following. What is the purpose of your CV? Who will be reading your CV, and can your CV impress in 30 seconds? I think it's 15 at maximum right now. So according to recent surveys, recruiters will not be spending more than 15, as I told you, to 30 seconds reviewing your CV. So preparation stage is very, very important. So what is the purpose of your CV? You should always know. Hello, Mustafa. The purpose of your CV is to undertake a single project. Is it to establish a long-term cooperation with an agency, to get a direct client, to get hired as an in-house translator, to get hired as an employee? You should have all this information in mind in order to adapt your CV accordingly. So always adapt the content and format of your CV, taking into account the above mentioned information. It's also very, very, hello, Amal. It's also very, very important to know who will be reviewing your CV, who is the reader, because whatever text we write, even if it's a post, a blog article, whatever, we have to have into our mind our reader. And CV also falls into that category. So we have to have the reader in our mind. Will be the HR pro, will be the owner, CEO, if it comes from small agencies, the project manager, vendor manager of the agency. What do they need or want to know about you? So before starting writing down the CV, create a list with all the information the recruiter would like to read. Do some research before you send your CV, and only include what the reader would be interested in knowing. Be selective, okay? Because as we told already, a CV should be 1, maximum 2 pages. Hello, I see your comments. So put yourself in your reader's shoes. What do they expect to read in your CV? Do they expect, and it's a very, very common question I get, do they expect to see a current photo of yours? Yes. The language combinations, yes. About the photo, we're going to discuss, because this is a very common question I get. Language combinations, yes. And most of the CVs I get, they do not write that. And this is very, very common mistake. Top 3 specialist areas. Please include those top 3. How easy it is to communicate with you. So make their lives easier. So include those contact information right in front of the first page or in your signature in the email. Services that you offer, it's very, very important. Do you offer localization, trust creation, copywriting? There are so many services nowadays. Please be specific to the service that you provide. Clear message about your experience level. So you should be very clear, of course, and include true information about what is your experience level, and of course, professional memberships that are always very useful. Provide relevant information only, and this is the key here, that if you want to take something away with you from today's training, only include relevant information that your reader would like to read in order to hire you or assign you specific projects. So can your CV impress in less than 30, nowadays 15 seconds? Let me know. So focus on these 3 sections, because according to surveys, those are the 3 sections that CV evaluator is going to focus on: is the profile summary, the professional experience, education, professional development, and professional memberships as a subsection of the 3rd section. So section 1 is the profile and summary, a summary paragraph that presents your strength, and a skills section that integrates keywords specific to position. I will share with you a template later, so make sure to realize what is most of you most probably use it in your CVs, because most of the templates nowadays, the modern, they include that section there. Section 2 is the past employment and accomplishment, very, very important. A relevant professional experience with examples of projects you have worked on. This is very, very important to know. And the relevant here is in bold, because you really include relevant professional experience. Section 3 is education, professional development. Any degrees, special training, certification, continuing professional development should be included in the section 3. And the subsection of the section 3 is the professional memberships. Any professional memberships or association you belong to, and of course related to your field that you work in. to your profession. Here, it's irrelevant to our profession, but I would really like you to see the format of that CV. So this is for an accountant, for example, but don't focus on the content rather than the format. And here you will see the first paragraph, which is, this is the unique selling proposition, the profile summary we said. Here is the work experience, accomplishment, as you see, and the education. Very short, very to the point, in contact details, accountant, what is the title? And this is, if we can say, the format that is suggested nowadays. So going deeper, if we have the time, very shortly with what to include. So contact details, very, very important. We should include our contact details. Professional headline, as you said, as you saw already, language combination in our profession, fields of specialization, the service you provide beside translation, for example, proofreading, copy editing, voiceover, and so on. Profile summary section can be a great way to express your unique selling proposition, what makes you different from other translators, from your competitors, and give a brief description of your skills. I don't want to go deeper with that. I will share the slides for those that they would like to receive them. You can go and subscribe to vmentoring.com/newsletter to be informed whenever this goes live, because I'm going to offer it as a free resource on my website. But it's really, really important to use a dynamic writing instead of passive writing. Here you can see an example of a same paragraph being rewritten with a dynamic wording and writing. So instead of saying manager of sales representative for 7 years, you said managed sales representatives from 7 states. Okay, so it's very, very important. Instead of saying manager again of 12 food chain accounts in the East, oversaw 12 food chain accounts in the Eastern United States. You can also find online many dynamic words templates. You can go and take some ideas of those active words and you can use them on your CV. Let's continue though. Past employment and accomplishment provide relevant professional experience with examples of projects you have worked on, examples like maximum 3. Try to give more detailed information for the most recent or the most interesting or relevant projects, including word count. That is also secrets, including a word count is very, very important. In a task-based bullet list, you can list your responsibilities and achievements as the example that I just showed to you. So project your value by using accomplishment-based bullets. Present your accomplishment first and follow it up with how you did it. I'm going to share some examples in order to have a better idea of what we're talking here. It would be a good idea to make a list with the types of documents you've translated, for example. Don't forget to be more convincing, use numbers. So if you use numbers like the word count of those projects, you become more convincing. And here is an example, for example, of a freelance translator. And you see that it has a title, Various Translation Agencies Greece, the time frame from up to now, position, description, and responsibilities and achievements. So achievement here would be major projects included 150-page technical manual for computer software, 50-page catalogs, and 25-page advertising brochure for a car manufacturer. Here you can see those are the achievements. And this is the way that you can write it, and it's very, very short. Also an example of an in-house translator here. You can go back and watch the recording. You can pause as many times as you want in order to take a look. And of course, I have included an example for interpreters here. Please, again, visit the recording and watch it, pause it as many times as you want in order to take a better look at those profiles, because I really don't want to go in much depth right now, because this is a very, very short training. Please comment below this video in order to see your questions, and later I will hop onto my Instagram account to answer all of your questions. And I have already gathered some of your questions you've sent me via email. So education, professional development, include education history and relevant qualification, again, because you might have 100 CPDs or programs and webinars you have attended. Please use those that are relevant. Any degrees, special training and certifications, they also like to see that you are growing as a professional by continuing your education or training. So CPD is very important. Also professional memberships and associations that you belong to, because they show that you are interested in the developments in your sector, okay? And you are growing as a professional by belonging to such associations. A list of published work, if you have any published work, articles, blogs, websites, academic papers, even books, choose according to CV's purpose. And here I have the link. You can include all of them with a link. Like if you have many published works, why not to have them on your website, on your LinkedIn profile, or even a PDF that you have on your Google Drive, and redirect them to that link in order to see more published works of yours, because the CV should not be more than 1 to 2 pages. So if you have many CPDs and if you think that all of them are relevant, or if you have, for example, many published works, include them in one portfolio online, either on your web page or your LinkedIn profile, or even a PDF that you have on your Google Drive, and share one link, include one link in your CV in order to redirect them and to read more information. If they're interested, yes, they are going to click on that link and go to read them. CAT tools, very important nowadays, the software that you use and own, and provide information on DDB capabilities, because nowadays are very important. Hello, Julia. So it would be a good idea to keep things as relevant as you can and include any URLs as they are quickly accessible. So be resourceful here and redirect the reader to your LinkedIn profile or web page on your profile where you include more information that you are not able to include in 1 or 2 page CV. So again, about the CV layout, do's and don'ts, as I have promised to you. Do's, what a CV layout should be: clean, readable, highlight or put in bold information when and if is that needed. Ready-made layouts, okay. Europass format only when that is requested. At least this is my opinion. I know that some recruiters, they really love Europass format, but I really prefer to see the creativity behind that person, and to see you really understand many things about the character and the personality of the person by reviewing their CV. And this is something that you cannot do with the Europass format. Only if it's a request, for example, for EU tenders, that this is a mandatory, then yes, of course, you're going to use Europass. Or if the recruiter asks your CV to be in a Europass format, yes, definitely you write your CV in a Europass format. Strains, we avoid, don't. Strains or small size fonts, bright colors, crazy backgrounds, word art, graphic images, the use of caps, yes, please. So we've talked about the sections, what to include, the preparation sheets, and now we're in the final check before sending our CV. So before sending your CV, check for any grammar, syntax, and or spelling mistakes. Proofread your CV and have others to proofread it, because sometimes if we read it many times, we might not be able to see some small minor mistakes. Include only relevant information and remove any useless information. Keep it short, ideally 1 to 2 pages. Check that your CV aims at the position, project you apply for, and the information related to that position. Project is highlighted. Submit your CV in PDF format as an email attachment. This is very important, not Word format. Save your CV with the correct file name. Do not send a Translator CV1 or CV.English. Please use your last name and optionally the language combination. Avoid options like Translator CV1, etc. Ensure that the email subject includes what the job advertisement requires. For example, name, language combination, maybe the rate, whatever is asked from you to include in the subject, you should follow the instructions. If you don't have any instructions, the generic advice would be to use your language combination and your service, and so on. And always address to a particular person that email that you're going to send it. So do a small research before applying. LinkedIn is so powerful nowadays. So checkpoints, keep your CV's content consistent, proofread your CV thoroughly, update your CV frequently. Email this cover letter, and we're going to discuss that tomorrow. Common pitfalls to avoid. Too many and often useless information. This is very common mistake I see in your CVs. Grammar and spelling mistakes. Unprofessional email address. Do not use a Hotmail. Do not use something names, crazy names. Create a Gmail account with your name and surname, okay? File name, please have a specific file name. Sending your CV in doc format, avoid that. Links that go to wrong pages, please make sure before, if you include links in your CV, check them that they direct to the right page, and use generic fields when using a ready-made template. So if you choose to use Europass or any other ready-made template, if any of the sections do not apply to your own situation, please delete the section. This is why this is editable, okay? You can go and delete the section. Do not send a Europass with empty sections because you do not have information to include there. You can always include and delete those sections. Email subject, please make sure that you follow the instructions, or if there are no instructions, that you include the information that the reader would like to see there. A generic CV for all position and projects, please, please, please avoid that, okay? So this is a CV that should look like, and it's one page only. You can see the contact information, the name, the profile summary, the professional experience, and of course the education. So if you tell me that your information cannot be included in one page, then make sure that you make a research beforehand and see that there are so many CVs in that format. And nowadays there's so many online templates, even on canva.com, you can use many of them. So here is a checklist on the information that you should include. Again, do's and don'ts. So do's, username, contact details, language combination, fields of specialization, CAD tools experience, DTP experience, relevant work experience, relevant education, certifications, credentials, professional memberships, links, and numbers. What to avoid? The photo, this is very, very common question. Jump in on Instagram. I'm going live after this live there at 8 p.m. Central European time on my Instagram account, where I hold all the Q&A sessions there. So I'm going to answer that. So, but if you decide to use a photo, at least use a professional one. Don't include birth date, marital status, because those might be also reasons of your CV being rejected. Okay, to some countries, relevant hobbies or interests. So, okay, all of us as translators, we love reading. You shouldn't use the space that you have available to include information that's not of importance to the reader and the evaluator of your CV. List of all dictionaries, list of all references, list of all seminars, please do avoid them. But if you really want to include them, use a URL that you can redirect the reader of your CV to that specific page where you can include all such information. Rates, do not include them unless this is requested. Acronyms or all hardware or software, please do avoid that. So as you see very quickly, here is the survey results. What are the most important aspects of CV that you look for? This is what employers replied: 45% previous related work experience, okay? Easy to read is the third position. So make sure that you make a CV that is easy to be read. Those are the frequently asked questions I'm going to answer. The key points, again, I've already mentioned those. Information about online CVs. Yes, there are differences between online CVs and PDFs, because on an online CV, you really need to include a professional photo. You really need to include a professional headline where you include your language combination with specialization, your location and industry, LinkedIn URL so you can be found easily. You go and you include your name, so your LinkedIn URL is editable. You can go and edit. Contact info with website link, profile summary with keywords, media added, slides and presentation where you can is in the featured section. Skills and expertise optimized for those who you want to be known for. Relevant education, certification, volunteer work. Yes, there is a specific section on LinkedIn, for example, and also for projects. So nowadays you can go and include all your projects under the specific section. Professional memberships, linked groups joined, recommendations published. This is very, very powerful. So those are some of the links that I have found online. I'm sure that you can find much more of them. This is Translator CV Builder, but you can definitely find such templates that are more powerful and you can use them. I found them, I think, on FreePeak. Yeah, I really like this one. This is why I said it. And this one I really like the colors, again on FreePeak, but you can use also canva.com, useful resources. Good luck. Let's keep in touch. Send me any questions you might have at info@vmentor.com and I will make sure that I will answer all of your questions during our Q&A session. I'm going live right after this live here on Instagram. So thank you all for being here. It was 30 minutes training. I hope. Hello, Tony, Jacobo. Greetings from Chicago. Wow, great that we are seen on Chicago. Hello, Amal. Let me know if you have any more questions. Jump in on Instagram in half an hour. I'm going to answer on Instagram all of your questions. And of course, reach me out here on social media. And if you would like to be notified for the next lives, please make sure you subscribe at vmentoring.com/30daylives. Subscribe there so as to be notified for any next live that I'm going to hold here online. They're all of them free of charge, so you can join me, and all of them, they're available with recordings to watch them anytime you want. Yeah, now I breathe, Renata. So Renata, let me know, did you find it interesting? Have you been following those instructions? You can definitely go back and watch the recording if you find that I'm talking very, very fast. Definitely go back and pause as many times as you want in the recording. Renata, let me know where are you watching us from and if you found it interesting, the training so far. You're welcome, Amal. Are you going to use any of such tips and tricks we shared today? I know that sometimes I speak too fast. Yes, thank you for suggesting to add memberships. I hadn't thought of this. So Renata, yes, please, if you're, for example, a member of any big association, for example, ITI, ATA, I don't know, Renata, where are you based? I know that there is also in France, Spain, great, Amal. So memberships are very, very important, especially if they are related to our profession, because they show our professionalism, that we are updated with the developments in our sector and in our profession. And ask me anything, because I'm going to answer now, like in 20 minutes on Instagram, the most frequent questions. So Julia says, greetings from Brazil. Hello to Brazil. This is the first live I had the opportunity to watch. Looking forward to the next ones. Thank you for sharing such great info knowledge. You're welcome, Julia. Let me know which one did you find more interesting for you, and definitely go back and watch the recordings as many times as you want. The questions most common I've got so far and I would really like to share with you are, okay, questions that I will answer I've got so far from you. One is about the photo. Should I use a photo or not? Should I include a photo of mine in my CV? What length should my CV be? Should I include my rates? Is it preferable to use the Europass template or any other template? I have been a translator for 20 years. How can I list all my experience in less than 3 pages? Very, very common question. I have no experience at all. What could I include in my CV? Why shouldn't I include any acronyms in my CV? Should I state any marital status, number of children, religion or date of birth, etc. in my CV? Should I include a list with the companies I have worked with? So these are the questions that I'm going to share. Join me live on Instagram, like in 20 minutes from now, to find out about those questions. And if you have more questions, please write them down, or definitely live on Instagram. I will share the links that are public with you via email for those that they have registered to vmentoring/30day live. So you will receive all the links with the recording so far, so you can have access anytime to the recordings on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. Thank you, all of you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. It was a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for joining me, Amal, Renata, Julia, to Chicago, to Brazil, Tony, to so many people. Thank you so much for being here. Definitely go back and watch the recording as many times, because some slides I didn't pay attention, because these slides, 44 slides, are for a workshop of 3 hours. Okay, can you imagine that? 3 hours workshop on how to write a CV. So thank you for being here live with me. Thank you for your kind messages and words. See you live in a few minutes on Instagram to answer all of your questions. Bye-bye for now.